What's going on, guys? Billy here, and the DJI Mini 3 Pro has really blown me away over the past couple of months that I've gotten to fly it. It really is deserving of that Pro name for its crazy long flight time, the sensors all around the drone, this awesome new RC that they released with the built-in screen, and of course, the camera on the front, which, speaking of, how does that camera do in low light? Now, ever since I got my hands on the Mavic 3 at the end of 2021, I have been addicted to flying at nighttime because that big sensor is able to capture such beautiful images in low light. Now, to be clear, this video is not from the Mini 3 Pro, it's from the Mavic 3 Cine, but I want to use this footage as a quick sample to give you an understanding of what the top of the line drone from DJI is able to capture. Now, in my video where I focused on the Mavic 3's low light capabilities, I also shared this shot taken with the older Zenmuse X4S that was made for the Inspire 2, and it looks so horrible. It looks terrible, to be honest. It's crazy to think that this is a 1-inch sensor that was made for a high-end cinema drone, and it looks this bad. But hey, it really is cool to see how fast technology is progressing. Okay, so now that we've gotten all of that out of the way, let's now turn our focus to the Mini 3 Pro here and its low light capabilities. Now, the camera specs aren't even in the same realm as the Mavic 3 Cines in regards to sensor size, codec availability, and other categories. I mean, of course, the larger drone is going to carry a larger camera, but there is one spec that stands out to me, at least that is in regards to shooting in low light, and that is the aperture on the Mini 3 Pro, which is larger than that on the Mavic 3, so f1.7 instead of f2.8. This means that the aperture on the Mini 3 Pro's camera is more wide open, thus allowing more light to hit the camera sensor, giving it the opportunity to capture better photos and videos in low light scenarios. And when I say better, I don't mean better than like the Mavic 3 and Mavic 3 Cine. I still think that that drone line is king when it comes to low light capabilities, but what I'm saying is f1.7 is better than say f2.8 in these low light scenarios. And this is actually the smallest, or I guess you should say the most wide open aperture that DJI has put inside of one of their drones, and it comes into their smallest size camera, which is pretty cool. Now, I feel like I have to mention the low light photography capabilities of the Mini 3 Pro, but really, these photos would look great regardless of what drone you use. You can drag the shutter when shooting photos, which helps you keep the ISO down, thus allowing for a cleaner looking image. I guess the one thing that I should mention about the Mini 3 Pro and the low light photography is that it is extremely stable in high winds, especially for its size. This means that when you drag the shutter for say a full second to properly expose your image, the gimbal and camera will stay stable to reduce motion blur. This is really true for any new drone though, as the flight software continues to get better and better each release. Now, just to give you a quick example, look at this screen recording of my drone hovering above the art museum here in Philly. Pay close attention to the middle crosshair. It stays dead center in the middle of the screen, down the Benjamin Franklin Parkway, and doesn't veer off. The wind was blowing pretty considerably, and the drone stayed rock solid up there in the air. Now, just for reference, I think the maximum ISO that I was hitting was 800 with my shutter at half a second, and of course, these photos came to life when I brought them into Lightroom. I also really enjoyed capturing vertical photographs, which of course is a really unique experience thanks to the rotating camera on my Mini 3, which I wasn't able to do on the Mavic 3 or Air 2S. I've been posting a lot of these great photos from the Mini 3 Pro over on my Instagram, so if you're interested, go ahead over there and give me a follow at Billy Kyle to see more photos taken during the day and night from this drone. Okay, so the photos from this drone in low light look great, but of course that's to be expected. Now let's move on to the video. So for reference, I started flying from just before the sunset all the way through for a full hour until the sun went all the way down, so it was pitch black. This means that my ISO continued to increase from 400 until I finally got all the way to 6400, which is the maximum ISO that this camera can reach. I definitely noticed that as the night went on, the more open aperture helped capture more light. Like, my personal favorite time to shoot is blue hour, when there's still some color in the sky and on the buildings, because as the night continues to fall, you lose more and more definition until you're pretty much only capturing the lights on the buildings, and this is the case with all drones, even the top of the line Mavic 3 Cine. I know that a lot of people love to fly their drones at nighttime, so low light is definitely important to discuss, but unless you live near or in a big city like me here in Philadelphia with a lot of light pollution, there's really no reason to take this drone out. Like, a small little town with a few little buildings just simply isn't going to put out enough light for you to get a usable image regardless of the drone. Now, coming off of that tangent, this video through and through still looks great. Even at 6400 ISO, there isn't a lot of noise and it's only really visible in the sky. The buildings and roads still look nice and crisp. Now, I know that there are some people out there that want to hear me say that this is a better drone than the Mavic 3 when it comes to capturing low light, but that really just isn't the case. And quite frankly, it shouldn't be the case. This is a much less expensive drone that costs under $900, while the Mavic 3 is upwards of a $2,000 drone standalone. With that considered though, for what the Mini 3 is, the low light video is fantastic and is going to yield some very impressive shots from sunset through to sundown. Now, just as a side note, you can run some noise reduction to clean these clips up, so everything that you just watched was straight out of the camera, but when you tweak the colors, make some exposure adjustments, and add noise reduction, it really does help bring these clips to life. Another small but considerable difference when flying this drone, the Mini 3 Pro, at nighttime is the fact that it has two of these head LEDs now on the drone, which makes it easier to spot at nighttime over the previous designed Mini drones. I've got the Mini SE here. These drones just have one little LED on the backside, so this new design really does help you see the drone at nighttime much better. So guys, with that pretty much wraps up everything that I've got to say about the Mini 3 Pro at nighttime. As always, all the photos and videos that we showed here in this video will be available for download through a Dropbox link in the description. So go ahead and check these clips out for yourself in their full resolution. And yeah, let me know your thoughts after you go ahead and check those out. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Peace.